Thank you, Danielle. It is time for the headliner presented by Miller Lite, and let's bring in 1968 World Series champion and Tiger broadcaster, the legendary Jim Price. Jim, thanks for joining us again. Really appreciate your time.
Well, anytime. I love to be with you guys. It's my pleasure.
Well, Jim, let's go back to Saturday, right around 5 o'clock. Hastily called press conference by the Tigers, and lo and behold, Ron Gardenhire announces his immediate retirement. I know it came as a shock. I know you're close to Gardy. How surprised were you to hear that news?
I wasn't surprised because, I talked to him an awful lot. He and I, you said we were very close. And I got to know him off the field, away from the field. And the health issues really stood out. Taken from somebody that has health issues, it's something you worry about in this particular year, especially. And the pressure of every day putting this ball club together, a young ball club, a lot of inexperience, and seeing the type of play that they would have, good games, bad games. And when he mentioned about he comes to the ballpark, his hands are shaking. It's just about time. And uh, again, he's got grandbabies like he talked about, which he loves. He's got his son who's going to be probably a big league manager. I kidded him when he texted me last night that I said, maybe you can coach for your son who become a big league manager someday. So, but there was nobody like Gardy. I've been around for a long time and played for managers and broadcast here for over 30 years. He's just a special guy that knew how to deal with players. And to deal with players, I was a catcher. I dealt with 10 or 12 pitchers at a time. They all had different personalities. So you could put Gardy in charge of 25, 27, 28 different personalities, and he knew how to handle them each differently. And that's the thing I think that really paid off for Gardy. He was one of the guys, but he also knew when to give you a little spanking, when to give you a little pat in the back. And there's an art to being able to do that art.
Well, no pun intended, Jim.
That's right.
With that, with that said, what made him so effective? How do you think? And I know the Tigers only have, I think, 9 games left after Sunday's
Right.
loss to Cleveland, and then if they have to play that doubleheader against St. Louis, which we still don't know. But
Right.
will this have a profound effect on the team, or do you think because it's there's not much time left that the Tigers will be able to handle this?
I think they'll be able to handle it. Always remember the coaching staff is here, and I'm close friends with all the coaches. And let me tell you, Lloyd McClendon is a good, really good interim manager. And they had the coaches had the respect of the players because Gardy brought in his own coaches, and he knew how to pick coaches. He knew the job they could do. He knew their teaching ability, and I think that's the thing that stood out. So I don't think this will have an effect other than maybe push them a little bit for Gardy. Like they said, the win yesterday was for Gardy. Today, they came close. They put a little action late in the ball game, but just not quite enough. But I just think that Gardy will be in the back of their mind the rest of the season and maybe for a long time after that because the input that he had in each individual player, because he treated each individual player differently because they were all different personalities. Try that sometime. It's not easy to do.
Right, right.
As a catcher, I used to drive me crazy sometimes. Some guys you could pat in the back. Sometimes you had to give yell at them or be like Mickey Lolich. One time I went out towards the mountain. Mickey Lolich said, "Get back where you belong." So you really have to have all these different personalities.
But what I'm curious about, Jim, is that obviously we know that when Gardenhire was hired, this was a massive rebuilding job. The Tigers were really
Sure.
upfront
Oh yeah.
about that. So, what do you think his legacy will be as Tigers manager? Because I think everybody's willing to give him a pass on overall winning percentage.
Well, listen. I mean, you look at some of the teams that were put on the field before this year. Very difficult. Last year was. I got tired of saying, well, the throw when there's a fly ball to the outfield and there's a man tagging up or something, I got tired of saying the throw hit the infield. I mean, his legacy, in my opinion, is knowing how to play the game the right way. And this year, even though it's in a tough year, the defense has been a lot better. And I can't remember saying too many times the outfield throw hit the infield. I think his legacy is learning how to play the game the right way. And that was the thing that he pushed on every day in spring training, even during the regular season. He would be out here early working with infielders himself. He was an infielder when he played ball, and he'd be in the outfield. I mean, he would see things in the outfield. He would see things hitting that he reminded people of. Like he told Paredes one time, he said, "Look, don't take that first pitch. You got to be up there. You see a pitch, you got to swing the bat." And he's, lo and behold, he got like 3 hits in 3 games in a row. So little things like that to me, that's his legacy to me, that he knew how to play the game the right way, and that's what he pushed on. And I think that'll be a lasting memory for a lot of Tiger fans that know the game of baseball, what Gardy did with this organization.
Well, you know what? He was always great to me, even going back to his days as Minnesota's manager. Best thing I can
Yes.
say about him, we certainly wish him nothing but the best, is that I'm a better person for having known Ron Gardenhire. I really am, because of the way he conducts himself and the man that he is. So nothing but the best to Ron, for sure.
You know, he had the quickest wit of anybody that I think I've ever met. And if you remember in the press conference yesterday, I won't repeat what he said, but he said, Alavila would come down after games and bust my, you know what. I
Right,
won't say the word.
right,
It's
right.
an old baseball saying, and that just cracked me up. I mean, that's Gardy at his best. And well, there have been times, when they would come out and they would all wave to me up in the booth and everything, and the different coaches. And Mac McClennan and I had a thing going where Mac would turn around and kind of show his butt to me. That's what he thinks of me, and I'd turn around and do it to him. One time, Gardy said, when I did that to Mac, I looked like Dan Dickerson's face. So I mean, that's how fast he was. He was just tremendously fast. I mean, he was the quick wit there with the right personality was just the best. It really was.
Right. Well, it really sounds like that's a great story there, Jim. Thanks for sharing that one. Definitely a highlight of this interview thus far. Let's move to the Tigers. Matt Boyd, had a no-hitter going through 5 innings today. Then gave up 3 runs. Just seemed to lose it. You know, I know he started off slowly, but I'm still encouraged that he's sort of working himself out. Where do you think Matt Boyd is at right now?
Well, today, he had 4 perfect innings, and he was lights out. Everything was working, and the curveball was working along with the changeup and the fastball. And then how he lost it that fast. I mean, to me, it looked like you started guiding the ball, and then you start aiming the ball. Then your mechanics get off, your release point gets off. This has happened the last several years, where the last couple of games he has struggled like this. But a lot to like about Matty, because he's going to be back. I think he's going to be better. This was a year that you have to say, look, let it go. Give him a pass, because with this COVID situation and the 2 different spring trainings, some people could adjust to it, some people can't adjust to it. It's just that simple. And I think Matty really falls into that category, that he'll be back, and he's going to be a good pitcher for the Tigers.
Let's look at a couple of youngsters. Let's start with Tarek Skubal, left-hander. Now, I have heard that you have been impressed with him, so much so that you said that maybe he has the best stuff of any left-hander that you've ever seen in the Tigers organization. And let's be honest, you caught Mickey Lolich. So your opinion of Skubal and where he's at right now?
No, what I said was he has the best stuff I've ever seen from a young kid coming up as a left-hander in the organization. Mickey Lolich was
Okay.
He's in a separate category, but he has the best stuff of any young left-hander I've ever seen coming up. Remember, when I got traded to Detroit, I came right to the big leagues with Detroit, so it wasn't a case of Mickey Lolich just coming up. But Skubal, I think of Sandy Koufax when I look at Skubal. That's how good his stuff is. He has that old-fashioned motion. He's a tall kid. The high arm angle is just great. He's got all the pitches, and to me, he's just going to get better. I mean, at his age and with his ability, the word was, well, the changeup work in progress. Well, he has already progressed with that changeup this year. And I know there's ups and downs, but that's just the way it's going to be. But this kid's going to be a big-time winner for many, many years for Detroit, because lefties like this just don't come along very often.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, Jim, because I'm a lefty and Mickey is my guy. I mean,
Oh, Mickey, mine too. Oh, no, Mickey. No, I don't get Mickey mad at me.
Yeah, no, nothing against Tarek, and I'm happy he's going to turn out to be a fine pitcher for Detroit. But like you
Right.
said, Mickey Lolich is in a category by himself, and I know recently just celebrated what I believe his 80th birthday. So we wish
His
the
birthday,
lefty
yes,
the best.
I had a nice chat with him, and it was great, because he first asked me, he said, "Oh, hi, Jimmy, how you doing?" And you go, "Man, we're teammates. We don't talk a lot, but just to hear his voice, and he's had some health issues, but he sounded a lot better. He's got his wife Joyce, who just takes great care of him, and because he could be hungry at times, he could, and I kid Mickey about it all the time, but we're friends, we're teammates, we played together, and we have great history together. And he was tough to catch because he had great stuff.
Another one of the young pitchers, Casey Mize, a lot expected from him, number one overall pick. Very much more. I don't know if it's more of a learning curve or he's just a different pitcher than Skubal. Where do you think Casey's game is at right now? Because I know he's mentally tough. I know the talent's there. It's just been a little bit rougher go for him.
Well, the first game in Chicago, he had his best stuff, and he had the split, and that's his go-to pitch. He has not had the split since that first game, but when you see him pitch, you can see that. Listen, he's out of sync. There's no question about that. He's out of sync. He can reach 97. We hardly ever saw 97. He has a cutter now. A lot of times the cutter would spin, but he knows how to pitch. But he's just out of sync, and I don't think we've seen his good stuff yet. I think there's so much there ahead that we're yet to see, because he wasn't picked number one overall for not having great stuff. And I like when he is right. You see that in different stages of a game. We works both sides of the plate with the fastball, and that's the art of pitching that I like a lot. But once he regains the splitter to go with that fastball, which we'd like to see. Now, normally you would say he was set 93 to 96, but that's been inconsistent. So there's something off with the mechanics, something off with the release point. And there's still a lot to see with Casey Mize, and he'll be here for a long time to help this ball club.
Yeah, I really would like to. I could talk pitching all day, especially with you, Jim. I want to move maybe to some of the positional players that have been impressive during this shortened season. First of all, Jeimer Candelario struggling a little bit lately in this series against Cleveland, yet it finally seems that the Candyman has put it together.
Well, first of all, what happens, you start to see the ball better out of the pitcher's hands, number one. Number two, the swing got a little shorter, and Joe Vauber, an outstanding hitting coach, got him to understand it's all about your legs. And I try to talk about, hitting. It starts with your legs, and everybody's got to understand that. He was not using his legs. Now he's using his legs to drive, and the ball jumps off his bat. The swing got shorter, so far the bat got faster. So that combination has really worked with Jeimer, and a lot to like about it. Doesn't struggle like everybody does lately, but still, lots to like about Jeimer.
I don't know. I'm prone to exaggeration sometimes there, Jim, but I'm really
I
fired
that.
up about. You know me too well. Willie Castro seems to be a real player. I knew when the Tigers acquired him from Cleveland, I knew that they were after him. They tried to get him the year before.
Sure.
He seems that he's going to be maybe the shortstop of the future. Castro has been impressive since he's been called up from Toledo.
Well, let me tell you, Willie Castro, he's going to play shortstop the rest of the year. They want to find out, can he be an everyday shortstop? And I don't know if that's enough time to figure that out or not. Is he going to play winter ball? I don't know, but there'll be a lot to learn in spring training about him also. But his bat is so quick, and he's got tremendous power to all fields. And when you're a switch hitter like that, and you hit it to both sides with power, the bat is quick, the swing is short. I love to talk about how you use your legs and how short your swing should be. And I try to mention that to kids when they listen to the broadcast. Understand that your swing, if you have a long swing, you're helping the pitcher. The shorter the swing, the stronger the swing, the better the ball will jump off your bat. The more times you will barrel up and hit the ball a lot harder.
Jim, there's so many ways we can go, but we're running out of time here. So I really want to ask you, when you look at this shortened COVID-19 2020 season, what do you think really stands out? How would you characterize this year for the Tigers?
Well, I'd characterize it as a tough year for everybody. I would also characterize it as some people could handle it, some people could not. And that's just a fact. And I think Nico Grindrum falls into that category. There are several other people that I could mention. And Miguel, I think it hurt Miggy with his stride and with his leg work especially, and him seeing the ball. But I just think it was you could separate the team, the fellows that could handle it and the fellows that could not handle it. And for the most part, you almost have to forget about this year. I know a lot of people say you're crazy. Well, I am a little crazy. I know that, but you might have to forget about certain things and overlook that because of the two spring trainings, the pressure of being away from your family, being locked up in hotels. These are kids, and you know they have a mind of their own. And I think the one thing that stood out the way the Tiger family handled this pandemic. I mean, they did a great job making sure everything was taken care of, the broadcast booth cleaned and wiped, and I would clean and wipe it also because of my health issues. But you know, the team just did a great job, I think, handling it and keeping their players and their coaching staff safe. I think that really stood out.
Well, hopefully, the 2021 season will be much different than the 2020 season. Jim, it's always great having you on. You know, you're one of my all-time favorites. I enjoy your insight, and you're always a lot of fun. Continued good health. Stay safe, my friend, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Thanks for joining us on the Headliner today.
Thank you, Art. I got 10 more years to go, then I'm hanging it up, baby.
All right. Well, you know what? Okay, that's I've got 10 years too, Jim. We'll go
All
out
right,
together. We'll go out in a
all
blaze.
right, buddy.
All
You
right.
got it.
Thank you very much, Jim. Yeah, you
Bye.
bet. I salute you too. That'll do it. That's Jim Price. That is the Headliner presented by Miller Lite. It's the original light beer. It's only 96 calories. It tastes delicious. And guess what? It's available for delivery. Back to you, Daniela. Jim's the best.